CreepyCorner stories.
Hey everyone, welcome back to CreepyCorner stories. You know, diving into the dark web is always risky, but sharing these stories with you makes it worth it. I'm curious, where are you watching this from right now? Let me know in the comments below. I've noticed that these kinds of stories hit differently depending on where you are. It might even make the experience a little creepier. So, tell me, are you watching from the safety of your home or somewhere less secure? Every night, I listen to a true crime podcast on the dark web. One night, I heard about all the bad things that I've done in the past. Okay, so first off, I know how this sounds. I know it sounds fake, or like one of those clickbait horror videos you see on TikTok or late night YouTube rabbit holes. But trust me when I say this, what happened to me is 100% real, and it still messes with my head every single day. I haven't told anyone this before. Not my family, not my friends, not even my therapist. But I can't hold it in anymore. If something happens to me after this post, just know I didn't hurt myself. So, I'm just gonna start from the beginning. I'm 23. I work remote doing basic graphic design for small brands, so I spend a lot of time on my laptop. Like, I'll be honest, way too much. I basically live online. Reddit, Discord, YouTube, Twitter, or X, or whatever Elon's calling it now. I'm on all of it. I even had a little side hustle doing commissions on Instagram. I'm not some tech wizard or hacker or anything like that. I'm just your average guy who likes weird internet stuff and maybe went a little too deep one night. You ever hear of the deep web diaries? It's like this urban legend / trend I heard about through a Twitter thread in late 2023. Some dude posted a blurry screen recording of podcast he claimed was only accessible through a .onion link on the dark web. Not Spotify, not Apple Podcasts, not even some bootleg site. Just this one creepy looking black page with red font and no search bar. The title, Echoes of the Forgotten. That alone sounds fake, I know. But the weird part is, everyone in the comments was acting like it was real. Like, way too real. They were dropping timestamps, quoting episodes, even making memes about specific murderers that were talked about. One guy posted a photo of a Starbucks in downtown Chicago, saying, "Yo, this is where episode 19 happened, right?" And people were responding like, "Yeah, bro, same place I used to go to in high school, wild." It all felt like some crazy ARG until I found the actual link. Now, I'm not gonna drop the link here, obviously, not trying to get banned or worse. But let's just say, it wasn't hard to find if you looked through the right subreddits. I downloaded Tor, turned off all my lights like a dumb cliche, threw on my headphones, and clicked the link. The website loaded almost instantly, which was weird for a .onion link. Most of those sites lag or look like they were built in 2002 by a drunk MySpace coder. But this one, it was sleek. Pitch black background, red glowing text, and this looping animation of an eye slowly blinking at the top. It felt alive, like it was watching me. There were no titles, no descriptions, just a list of episode 001 to episode 066. Each one was about an hour long. I clicked the first one, and bro, I swear to God, I've never heard anything like it. No intro music, no ads, no friendly narrator voice. Just this super flat, robotic voice, like it had been run through 12 filters reciting true crime stories, but not the kind you'd hear on YouTube or Netflix. These were different. They were about people that weren't famous, people who had no articles written about them, no police reports online. The voice would describe their daily lives, their secrets, and exactly how they were murdered, with terrifying accuracy. One of the first ones that really messed me up was episode 4. It was about a girl who lived in a college dorm in Vermont. She had a bad habit of walking around her building barefoot at night to get snacks from the vending machine. She thought it was funny. The episode detailed everything, from the TikToks she'd make to the way her roommate used to complain about the smell of her feet on the shared carpet. Then it got darker. The podcast said that she would go missing on October 14th, that her body would be found in a janitor's closet, bound with Ethernet cables, with an Apple AirTag shoved down her throat. This episode aired October 7th, a full week before it supposedly happened. I didn't sleep that night, not because I believed it, but because part of me wanted to believe it was fake. I even checked the news every day after that, and on October 15th, a Reddit post blew up on r/unresolved mysteries. College student found dead in dorm utility closet. All the details matched, down to the vending machine and the Ethernet cables. That's when I realized this podcast wasn't telling stories. It was predicting them. I kept listening. Every night, around 2 a.m., I'd put on an episode. I couldn't stop. It was like this sick addiction. Each one got more specific, more local. One was about a kid in Vancouver who got lured into a subway tunnel by someone pretending to be a YouTuber doing a hidden underground McDonald's challenge. Another one described a woman who was stabbed in the parking lot of a Target in Miami because she refused to Venmo a stranger for gas money. But it wasn't until episode 34 that everything changed for me. It started normal. Same voice, same format. This is the story of a 23-year-old male, a freelance graphic designer living in upstate New York. He spends his nights browsing Reddit, listening to lo-fi, and drinking black coffee. He checks his phone more than he sleeps. He thinks no one knows what he did in 2017. He's wrong. I paused the episode. I live in upstate New York. I drink black coffee. I am 23. I started freaking out. I skipped forward a bit, thinking maybe I was just being paranoid. But then it kept going. He still remembers the girl from high school, the one he ghosted after the party. He doesn't know she cried for 3 days straight. He doesn't know her brother followed him home that night with a knife he bought from Walmart, but changed his mind last second. That actually happened. No one knows that but me, and maybe her. The voice kept talking. It started naming specific locations. A McDonald's near my old neighborhood, a Dunkin' where I used to hang out with my friend Ryan before he passed away. It knew things no one should know. I slammed my laptop shut. I haven't listened to another episode since that night. But the thing is, the list keeps updating. It's at episode 70 now, and when I check the title, even though they never used to have titles before, episode 70 said this: The boy who tried to stop listening. I don't even remember falling asleep that night. 1 second, I was staring at the screen, sweating bullets, trying to convince myself I imagined it. And the next thing I remember was waking up at 3:46 a.m. to the sound of my AirPods playing something. The podcast. It had autoplayed. I hadn't hit play. I didn't even have the browser open anymore. But the voice, the same cold digital voice, was talking. Only this time, it wasn't narrating a story. It was talking to me. You closed the screen, but the screen never closes for us. You were warned. I ripped the AirPods out of my ears so fast it tore the skin around my earlobe. I bled. I remember staring at my hands, shaking. This wasn't some haunted MP3 or cursed website. This was alive. Whatever the hell this was, it wasn't a podcast. And it knew I tried to run. I wiped my face with my hoodie sleeve and noticed something. My webcam light was on, the little green dot in the corner, blinking. I hadn't opened Zoom. I hadn't opened anything. I ripped the duct tape I normally keep over it and looked straight at it, like a moron. The light went off immediately, like someone had been watching, and they realized I noticed. I slammed the laptop shut and threw it in my closet. That's when my phone lit up. A notification from an unknown app I never downloaded. The app's name, Echo. No icon, just a red dot. The notification said, "You were never supposed to stop listening." I held the power button and tried to restart my phone, but it just froze. Then the screen glitched. Pixelated red static. It looked like blood was leaking through the screen. Then it showed a map. My location. The GPS pin was hovering over my exact house, and the text underneath read, Episode 70, now recording. Okay, so now I'm officially losing my mind. I ran around my apartment checking every lock, made sure my bedroom windows were shut. I even opened all my drawers and closet doors to make sure no one was hiding. I felt like I was in one of those dumb found footage movies where you just scream at the screen because the main character's being stupid. But I wasn't in a movie. I was living in one. I called 911. They picked up, but it didn't sound like 911. There was no, "What's your emergency?" Just breathing, raspy, like someone who'd smoked for 50 years. Then I heard something scrape against the speaker, like fingernails dragging down an old phone receiver. "They already know," the voice whispered. "They're already in the recording." I hung up so fast, I nearly dropped my phone. That's when I noticed something under my bedroom door. A shadow. Someone was standing outside my door. Just standing. I live alone. No roommates, no girlfriend. My parents are 3 states away. There was no one who should have been there. I didn't breathe. I didn't move. I just watched the shadow. It didn't shift or slide across the carpet like someone pacing. It was perfectly still. Too still. For 10 full minutes, it just stood there. Then, slowly, it shrunk. Not like footsteps walking away. I mean, it literally shrunk, like someone melting, dissolving, until the shadow disappeared into nothing. When I opened the door, nobody, not even footprints, just my hallway, and silence. I didn't sleep for days after that. I unplugged everything, laptop, router. I even ditched my iPhone and bought a $30 burner flip phone from a gas station in Syracuse. I tried to go off-grid in the most half-assed way someone raised on Reddit and YouTube could manage, and it almost worked until I started hearing the voice in real life. The first time was at Starbucks. I was trying to distract myself. I figured maybe being around people would make it feel less real. You know that feeling when you think someone's following you in a parking garage, but once you get near other humans, your brain just clicks off that panic switch. That was the plan. I was sipping my drink, iced coffee, extra espresso, barely any milk, when the barista called out a name that wasn't mine, but I turned anyway, because the name she said was The Ghost from episode 70. My heart just stopped. Everyone else went about their day like nothing happened, but I heard it, clear as hell. And when I asked her what she said, she looked at me like I was crazy and replied, I said, Jake, mobile order? That night, I found a box outside my apartment door. No name, no return address, just a white cardboard box with black tape, like some weird horror movie Amazon package. I didn't want to open it. I didn't even want to touch it. I kicked it into my kitchen like it was a bomb. But curiosity is a disease, and I was already infected. Inside the box was a cassette tape, not a USB, not a hard drive, an actual legit cassette tape. And on the tape, in Sharpie, were 3 words, your final episode. I don't even own a cassette player. I had to go on Facebook Marketplace and buy one from this retired dude who lived in a trailer 45 minutes away. He sold it to me for $10 and asked no questions, just handed it over and told me, be careful what you play on this. Some things were never meant to be heard again. I laughed like it was a joke. I'm not laughing anymore. When I played the tape, there was no intro, no ambient music, just me, my voice, talking, laughing, crying, begging, then screaming, like I was being tortured. But it didn't sound fake. It didn't sound like an edit or a remix of some audio clip. It sounded like someone had recorded my future death. Every stab, every breath, I could hear it all. I vomited right there on my bedroom floor. I tried calling the cops again, but every number just went to static. I tried the FBI tip line. I even went on Reddit to post on r/no sleep again, but my post kept getting deleted automatically before I could even finish writing it. My account got shadow banned for inciting panic with false information, but I hadn't even posted anything yet. Last week, I got a notification from Uber Eats. I didn't order anything. It said, your order from Echo's Cafe has arrived. I went to the front door and opened it slowly. There was no delivery driver, just a plastic bag. Inside, a single human tooth, still bloody, still warm, with a note. Smile for the microphone. I haven't left my apartment in 4 days. I keep hearing things, not voices, sounds, familiar ones. My phone ringtone, my mom's laugh, the PS2 startup sound, stuff from my past. Sometimes it comes from the sink, sometimes from the mirror. Last night it came from the ceiling vent. But today I opened my laptop. I didn't want to. I just had to check. The website was still there, still updating. Now it says, episode 71, live recording in progress. Underneath that, would you like to listen? I clicked no. It didn't matter. The screen glitched. The audio started playing anyway, and I heard something that made every bone in my body turn to ice. This is the story of a Reddit user who tried to warn the world, but no one listened in time. He posted 5 times. They only ever found 4. You ever get that feeling that something is inside your house before you see it? Not like someone broke in, but like they've always been there, hidden in the insulation, behind the drywall, breathing through the walls so quietly that even silence starts to sound different. That's what it's like now. That's my life. Since the night the podcast started recording live, nothing has been the same. I don't mean I'm scared. I mean something is happening. Something is watching me in ways no human eye can. It's not just stalking me anymore. It's learning me. It knows what I fear, what I regret, what I dream about when I'm not even conscious. It knows how I'll die, and I think it's getting ready to make it happen. It started with mirrors. I used to look in them every morning without thinking, brush my teeth, fix my hair, whatever. But then I noticed something that made my skin crawl. The reflection wasn't delayed. It was faster, just by a millisecond, just enough that it looked like it knew what I was about to do. At first, I thought it was just sleep deprivation. I hadn't slept in days. But it got worse. The reflection smiled. Before I did. One morning, while I was brushing my teeth, my reflection dropped the toothbrush. But I hadn't dropped it yet. I stared, frozen. Then, when I blinked, it caught up. Then there were two of me, brushing at the same time again, like nothing ever happened. The next day, I covered every mirror in the apartment with black trash bags and duct tape. I know how that sounds. I know it's crazy, but trust me, it's nothing compared to what happened next. I woke up 3 days ago to a loud beep, like an intercom system, but I don't have one. It repeated every 10 seconds, not loud, but sharp, piercing. I followed the sound into my bathroom, and there it was, on the floor, under the sink, where my old broken heater used to be, a walkie-talkie. I hadn't seen one since middle school. I sure as hell didn't buy one. The walkie-talkie clicked, and a voice, my voice, came through. Stop unplugging the microphones. We can still hear you breathe. I dropped it. It shattered against the toilet. The static didn't stop. Now, the podcast episodes don't wait for me to play them anymore. They play themselves. Through any speaker I'm near. At Target, over the intercom. This is the story of a boy shopping for batteries. He doesn't know this is where he'll find the note in his sock. I checked. Inside my left sock, wedged between my ankle and the fabric, was a sticky note. He's in the aisle behind you. I didn't turn around. I ran. I left my wallet, my phone, my dignity. I ran like my soul was on fire. And when I got outside, everything was normal. Family shopping, kids screaming, birds, clouds, all of it. Like a world hadn't just told me I was being hunted. Like I was crazy. Later that night, the lights started going out in sections, not all at once. Like someone was flipping switches in a pattern. My hallway, then my kitchen, then the bathroom, then my bedroom, back and forth. One light would come on as another turned off, like a rhythm, like breathing. Then I got a voicemail, but not on my phone, on my TV. Yeah, I know how that sounds. My Samsung TV glitched to black. Then the words, "One new voicemail," appeared. I don't even think that's a feature TVs have. I grabbed the remote, but it had no power. I hadn't even turned the TV on. It played automatically. The voicemail was a woman crying, not sobbing, just trembling, breathy, whimpering, like she was trying not to be heard. Then she whispered, "They're practicing on you before they try it on the rest of us. Please don't let them finish episode 100. Whatever happens, don't let them finish the series." Then it cut off. I haven't slept since then. I started getting messages from unknown usernames on every social platform I had left. Not the obvious ones either. Not Twitter or Instagram. I'm talking Venmo, Grubhub, LinkedIn. Places where you're not supposed to get messages. One from a Grubhub delivery guy just said, "The bag is empty, but the blood isn't yours. Yet." Then my LinkedIn bio got changed. I didn't do it. I haven't touched LinkedIn in months. The new bio read, graphic designer, music enthusiast, currently being recorded for streaming. Here's where it really goes off the rails. Last night I woke up to my own voice, humming, not singing, humming. It was coming from inside the closet. I hadn't made a sound, but somehow, the exact hum I used to do when I was younger, this creepy little tune I made up during 6th grade detention, was echoing out of my closet like someone had memorized it. When I opened the door, no one was inside, but I heard myself whisper something. "We're almost done editing your death." There was a video playing on my laptop, a screen recording of me, sitting at my desk, typing the story. The camera panned slightly. I wasn't alone in the footage. Something tall, bold, no face. A gray figure standing directly behind me, inches away. But here's the part that made me throw up on the floor. In the video, I reached up and held its hand, like we'd done it before, like it was familiar. I finally snapped. I went to the police, full breakdown, told them everything, begged them to check my apartment. They sent a unit. 2 officers, dead serious, came into my place and walked through every room. Nothing. No sign of forced entry. No bugs. No hidden cameras. No evidence. They gave me a pamphlet on mental health clinics and said to get some air. But right before they left, one of them pulled me aside. This older guy must have been pushing 60. Deep bags under his eyes, like he hadn't slept in weeks. He said, "Between you and me, we've had 4 reports like this in the last 2 months. They all used the same word you did. Echoes. They all disappeared before their next appointment." Then he walked off. I tried following up with the precinct the next day. They told me no such officer works there. I got a package this morning. Not a box. A cooler. I thought it was a sick prank. I opened it and gagged. Inside, floating in a thick red liquid, were 6 teeth. My teeth. I still had all of mine in my mouth. Until about 5 minutes ago, when one of them fell out while I was typing this. I'm bleeding. I'm scared. I think the podcast is editing me in real time. I tried smashing the laptop, but it didn't break. I mean that literally. I hit it with a hammer, and it didn't even crack. The screen just flickered, then turned to a countdown. Episode 100 premieres in 7 days. I don't know what happens when they reach 100. I don't know if I die, or if something worse happens. But I do know this. They're not telling stories. They're not making episodes. They're building a timeline. One victim at a time. One listener at a time. And if you're reading this, you've already been cast. You ever hear something so quiet, it's loud? That's what my apartment sounds like now. There's no silence here anymore. Every second feels like something is holding its breath with me. Like the walls are listening. Like the air is waiting. You know when you feel something is going to happen before it does? That pressure behind your teeth. The way your spine feels like it's holding cold metal. That's how I feel all the time now. Since the countdown to episode 100 started, things have changed in ways I can't explain. I don't mean lights flickering or doors opening. That was child's play. No, now I'm talking about time breaking. Objects reappearing after I throw them away. Dead flies forming patterns on my bathroom floor. My Google search history filling with things I didn't search. One of the entries was, how to remove a soul from flesh without anesthesia. I didn't type that. At least, I don't remember typing it. The worst part, the podcast is no longer just an audio file. It's becoming a place, a physical location. I don't know how, but I think I've seen it. Last night, I ended up in a place that wasn't my apartment. I swear to you, I went to sleep in my bed and woke up in a room I've never seen before. I don't mean dream logic. I mean I opened my eyes and I was somewhere else, somewhere real. It looked like a storage facility, the kind you see on the side of highways, except everything was pure white, sterile, too clean, not a speck of dust. The walls looked padded, like a sound booth. No windows, just one red exit sign glowing above a steel door that never opened. The only thing in the room was an old-style microphone, silver, wired, sitting on a stool. Attached to it was a label. Speak your confession, or let us decide for you. There were speakers built into the ceiling. They clicked on and played me. My voice, crying, screaming, laughing, saying things I've never said in my life. I pushed her. I watched her fall. I liked the way the blood smelled. I lied when I said it was an accident. I wanted them to hurt. And with every new sentence, I remembered something I'd forgotten. A cat I accidentally locked outside when I was 10 during a blizzard. It froze. A kid from summer camp I left tied up in the woods as a prank. He broke 2 ribs falling down a ravine. A girl I ghosted after she sent me a paragraph-long confession in high school. She deleted her account 2 weeks later. I never checked on her. These weren't crimes. They weren't murder. But the podcast didn't care. To it, pain is content. I screamed until my throat bled, but no one came. I sat in that white room for what felt like days. The lights never changed. I never got hungry. I never got tired. But I could feel my body falling apart anyway. My skin felt too tight. My fingers started twitching uncontrollably. I started laughing randomly. Every time I breathed, it sounded like I was exhaling static. Then the wall opened. Not a door. It just split, like 2 slices of flesh being peeled back to expose bone. Behind it was a long hallway, pitch black. The floor was covered in wires. No, not wires. Veins. Thick, rubbery veins that pulsed beneath my feet. I walked barefoot because my shoes were gone. I could feel the heartbeat of the hallway with every step. Slow. Getting faster. And then I saw it. A glass window. Like an observation booth. Inside was a room identical to mine, except someone was sitting at my desk using my laptop, typing the story. I banged on the glass. The person slowly turned. It was me, but not now. Me. A rotted version of me. My skin was bloated like it had been underwater for weeks. One of my eyes was missing, the socket sagging. My lips had been sewn shut, but he was humming. That same tune, the one from 6th grade detention. He held up his hand, and in his palm was my tongue. I woke up back in my bed, covered in sweat and blood, the sheets soaked, my pillows shredded. My nails were broken, and my hands were shaking. My laptop was still open on the desk. The episode player was on, but this time there was video, not animation, footage, security cam style, wide angle, inside a public restroom, flickering fluorescent lights. A man walks in, alone. He's wearing a Postmates jacket. The voice narrates, "This is Kyle." He doesn't know the drink he delivered had a tooth in it. He didn't ask questions. He didn't report it. He delivered the order, took the tip, and moved on. So we followed him to this restroom where the tip would be returned. On screen, Kyle turns toward the mirror. He freezes, then starts violently shaking. Blood leaks from his nose, then his eyes. Then he starts pulling his own teeth out, one by one, like something's inside him, trying to get out through his mouth. He starts screaming through the blood. I heard the episode. I didn't mean to listen. I didn't want to be cast. Then his head smashes against the sink, again and again and again and again, until it bursts open like an overripe fruit. No scream, no music, just static, and the robotic voice, whispering, Episode 94, delivered on time. There was a knock on my door just now. Not loud, not angry, polite, rhythmic. 3 knocks, pause, 2 knocks, pause, 3 knocks again. That's not how people knock. That's Morse code. I googled the pattern. It means, we see you. I haven't moved in hours. The knock hasn't come again. But there's something else now. A shadow under the door. It doesn't move, but I know it's breathing. I can hear it. I can feel its breath through the keyhole, warm and sour, like old copper and teeth. The laptop made a noise just now. A chime. New message on the site. No more countdown. Just this message. The final casting has been confirmed. Episode 100 is not an episode. It's a live stream. Below that, a file began to download. MP4. Title, Your Death, Final Cut. I didn't click it. It opened itself. It's my apartment. The angle is high, like a corner security camera. I can see myself sitting here, typing, but here's the part that's breaking me. I'm not alone in the video. There's something behind me. It's been standing there the whole time. At first I thought it was a person, tall and still, but now I think it's wearing my skin, like a hoodie, loose, flayed, drenched. Its fingers are too long. It twitches. It doesn't breathe, but its chest rises anyway. Then it tilts its head toward the camera. Slowly, deliberately, it mouths the words, "Say goodbye." I hear it in the room now, not through the screen, not in my headphones, behind me. I don't want to turn around, but I will, because the episode doesn't end until I do. I turned around. I don't know what I thought I'd see. A person? A shadow? Maybe just the air playing tricks on me again. But what I saw, it wasn't human. It wore my skin like it bought it at Goodwill. Inside out, stretched, sewn in places where no seams should exist. It was tall, but too tall, like someone made it in a rush and didn't care if the proportions were right. Its arms dragged on the floor, knuckles thick and raw from scraping tile. Its face, my face, was blank. No eyes, just black cavities. No mouth, just a twitching hole that whistled when it breathed. My teeth were inside the chest, not in a mouth, just embedded into the chest skin, like trophies, like reminders. And the worst part, it was smiling, with my lips, upside down. It didn't move toward me. It didn't speak. It just watched. Then the stream began. My laptop lit up again. There was no title this time, just a flashing red screen. Episode 100, live broadcast. Viewers, 1. I was the viewer, but the stream wasn't from my webcam. It was from a security cam, inside my brain. I don't know how else to explain it. The footage was me, not on the outside, not sitting at the desk, but from inside, looking out through my own eyes like a caged animal. Every movement I made was delayed in the stream, like the feed had to decode my thoughts before it could show them. The caption under the stream read, "Now recording the collapse of a mind. Starring you. Directed by the ones who watch. Runtime until you break." And then the stream viewer count began to rise. 1, 8, 36, 219, 3,127. Thousands of people watching. I don't know who they were. Maybe they weren't people. Then the episodes began playing backwards. All 99 of them. Rapid fire. No audio at first, just the visuals. Every death, every scream, every victim, in reverse. Blood crawling back into bodies, broken bones snapping into place, faces reforming as if the pain could be rewound. But then I noticed something terrifying. In every episode, every single one, I was in the background. I was there, in the corner of a dorm hallway, in the reflection of the Target parking lot window, on the subway, behind the YouTuber prank. Always blurry, always still, always watching. I hadn't just been listening, I had been part of it. From the beginning, the voice finally returned, the robotic one. But now, it was me, my own voice, distorted, deeper, hungrier. This is the story of a listener who became the final story. He thought he could observe without being seen, consume without being consumed. But stories feed on attention, and now they're full. Then came the noise. That noise. You ever hear the sound of someone scraping a tooth across glass for 6 hours straight? Imagine that, but it's coming from inside your skull. I fell to the floor. My eyes rolled back. My mouth snapped open involuntarily, like something else was trying to crawl out of it. I couldn't move. The thing, the version of me wearing my body, stepped forward, not walking, just sliding, like it didn't need feet. It reached into its own stomach and pulled out a roll of film. Real, tangible film reel, dripping, sizzling, like it was developing in its own bile. It held the reel up to my face. On each frame was me, dying, hundreds of versions of me, hanging, burning, drowning, screaming. One of them, smiling. Then it opened its chest. There was a door inside, a literal wooden door built into its ribcage, creaking with the sound of 1,000 fingers clawing to get it out. The inside of the door was a set, a real-life film set, tripods, lights, a bloodied clapperboard on the ground. It read, EP 100, final scene, one take only, no cuts. And behind it, a figure sitting in a director's chair. No face, just a projector for a head, spinning old film reels. The film played directly onto my retinas. I saw myself walking into frame, kneeling. Then something behind me raised a hammer. Cut to black. I woke up in the bathtub, naked, soaked in red. Not blood, tape ribbon. Thousands of feet of black cassette ribbon wrapped around my body like veins, tighter and tighter, digging into my skin. The words, "Property of Echoes," were printed in red ink across every strip. The water was cold, but I wasn't shivering. I was calm. There was a note taped to the wall, written in my handwriting. Thank you for your performance. The audience was delighted. Unfortunately, you will not be returning for season 2. Your character arc ends here. Please remain still while the final edit renders. Runtime, eternal. Director's note, he begged to be remembered. He will be. In every dead frequency. In every flicker of a broken screen. In every voice that whispers, "Did you hear that?" You did. And now you're part of it. I don't remember the next 48 hours. I think I blacked out. Or maybe they cut those scenes. When I came to, I was back in my room. But it's not mine anymore. Everything is a replica, slightly off. My posters are reversed. My books are blank. My plants are plastic. And worst of all, my reflection smiles without me. I can't leave. The front door opens to black static. My windows show live feeds of other people listening to the podcast. They're just sitting at desks, AirPods in, number. They don't know they're being cast next. And now I'm here, writing this, but not for help. You can't help me. No one can. This is your final warning. If you've read this far, you're already part of the script. They know you. They know where you are. They've already scanned your face through your front-facing camera. The episode has your name now. It's rendering. It's almost ready. And when you hear that static in your headphones tonight, the one you brush off as interference, know this. It's not a glitch. It's your intro music. You're not a viewer anymore. You're episode 101, and they've already pressed record. I've been hypnotizing kids with psychedelic on the dark web. Tonight, I went too far. Alright, so before y'all freak out, just listen. I'm not some evil mastermind or creep who just randomly decided to ruin lives on the dark web for fun. I was just some broke dude trying to make money online. You know how it is these days. College loans, rent in a shoebox apartment, Uber Eats twice a day, 'cause I can't cook for crap. So yeah, I needed a job. Not even a good job, just something. It all started when I stumbled on this post in a random hacker Discord server. I wasn't even supposed to be there. My cousin added me to troll some crypto scammers, but this one channel inside had a thread called Mindport Projects, Remote Work Needed, and it felt weird from the jump. All the messages were cryptic, like, looking for open-minded individuals, no questions asked, high pay, anonymous work, must have stable internet and webcam access. Apply below. At first, I thought it was one of those campsite scams, you know, like the ones that ask you to model for strangers, but the replies were insane. People were actually making bank. I DM'd the guy who posted it. His username was literally just null, and asked what the deal was. He sent me a private link to something that looked like a normal Zoom call app, except it was running on Tor, and the layout was off. Like the buttons were too small, and the font was glitchy, like a broken VHS tape. It was called Port 13. He told me the job was simple. You read scripts. The kids watch. They learn. You get paid. Sketchy. Yeah. The man sent me $500 in Monero just for agreeing to do a test session. I didn't even do anything yet. Just logged in and showed my face. That money hit my wallet in minutes. After that, I was in. The sessions happened twice a week. Same time. Same script. All I had to do was read this weird-ass story while staring into the webcam. The screen would flicker with these rainbow flashes while I talked, like an old projector reel spinning too fast. I always assumed there was some kind of filter on the site, like a visual thing for effect. The stories were always trippy and abstract, almost like something a failed animation student wrote during a mushroom trip. But here's the thing, I never saw the kids. The webcam feed was one way. I just talked, and the site would play the visuals behind me. The whole screen would melt into colors, purples, greens, reds, and then this white spiral thing would start pulsing slowly, like a heartbeat. I always got the same script in my inbox before each session. One of them went like this. Close your eyes, take a breath. You are weightless. Time is melting. Your fingers are clouds. Your voice is music. Repeat after me. I am not my name. I am not my body. I am free. I am free. I am free. Kinda sounds like some trippy meditation YouTube video, right? Except, these were for kids. A few sessions in, I started asking questions. Like, what's the point of this? Who's watching? Every time I brought it up, Null would either leave me on read or just reply, keep reading. Don't break character. You're doing great. I should have dipped right then. About a month in, I started seeing weird stuff outside of the sessions. One night, I was scrolling through TikTok before bed, and this random video popped up. Just a black screen and a voice saying, I'm not my name. I'm not my body. I am free. It was my voice. No hashtags. No username. Just thousands of likes and comments like, I heard this in my dream. This is from that site, right? My little brother keeps saying this in his sleep. It was freaky, but I thought maybe someone recorded my stream and reposted it. It happens, right? But then stuff started escalating. I got this DM on Instagram from a random account. No profile pic, no bio, just one message. You broke them. Now you'll see what it feels like. I tried to laugh it off. Internet weirdos are everywhere. I even joked about it to my friend Dom while we were grabbing McDonald's late one night in Brooklyn. I remember this clearly because the ice cream machine was, shocker, broken again, and we were both just clowning on how cursed my life was becoming. But later that same night, I got an email. No sender, no subject, just a single video file named 7 Days. It was filmed in a Starbucks, looked like one of those chill surveillance clips, until I noticed the kid sitting alone at a table, just rocking back and forth, whispering something to himself, over and over again. The camera zoomed in slowly, clearly not automatic. Someone was filming this on purpose. I turned up the volume, and I swear to God, he was saying my script. I'm not my name. I'm not my body. I'm free. Then he slammed his head into the table. Once. Twice. Blood smeared across his sleeve. The video cut to black before I could see anything else. I couldn't sleep that night. I called Null. No answer. Sent an email. Nothing. I even tried logging into port 13, but the site was gone, like wiped completely off the dark web node I bookmarked. I checked my Monero wallet. Empty. Every cent gone. Like it was never there. The worst part. A week after that, I found a sticky note on my door. I live on the 6th floor. No fire escape. Just one way in. One way out. The note just said, you made them forget who they were. Let's see what happens when you forget. Now my reflection doesn't blink when I do. I don't remember my own middle name. And I swear, someone's watching me through my webcam, even when it's unplugged. I don't know how much time has passed since the last session. Days? Weeks? I've stopped checking the calendar. I wake up and it's just off. Not like normal anxiety or a bad dream. I mean, someone's breathing behind you and you're alone. Off. That kind of feeling that wraps around your spine like a cold hand. Let me tell you what happened after I got that sticky note. I thought I was being paranoid. Classic burnout, right? I had all these tabs open on my laptop. Reddit rabbit holes about MK Ultra, shadow government projects, and those creepy videos from YouTube that people say break your mind if you watch till the end. Stuff about frequencies that scramble your memory. The same spirals I saw on port 13. They were popping up in old footage, like 80s PBS episodes, even some frozen frame on a SpongeBob rerun. I recorded one on my phone, tried playing it back, just static. My phone crashed. Then came the smell. Rotten meat, wet copper, burnt hair. I thought something died in my vents. I tore apart my kitchen, checked every crevice, even called maintenance. Nothing. And the smell only got stronger when I went near my mirrors. I covered every reflective surface in my apartment with towels. I couldn't explain it, but the glass was starting to warp. I'd catch myself moving a second too late in the reflection. I'd blink, and it wouldn't. Smile, and it would just keep going long after I stopped. And sometimes, its eyes would widen like it was watching something behind me. The first real break happened the night I finally got a reply from Noel. Except it wasn't a message. It was a live stream link. It just said, Live, 1:14 a.m., room 6B. Now here's the thing. I live in room 6B. I clicked it. The stream showed my bedroom. My actual real-time bedroom. Except I wasn't in it. Or at least, I didn't think I was. The lights were off, but the camera quality was way too high res. I could see every speck of dust floating in the air. The sheets were pulled tight, like someone had just gotten up. My desk chair spun just once. And then, the camera zoomed in on my bed, and something, was under the blanket. It was breathing, not slow or calm, but this fast, shaky inhale, like a panic attack. I tried to pause the stream, shut the window, rip my laptop's battery out, but the screen wouldn't turn off. My webcam turned on by itself. That little green light, glowing like an eye watching me back. Then the figure under the blanket started whispering, not words, clicks, tongue flicks, animal noises, like something trying to mimic a human voice, but not quite getting it right. I stared at the screen for 5 whole minutes, frozen, until I saw the blanket start to rise, like whatever was under it was standing up inside it. It wasn't shaped like a person. Its spine was too long. I saw elbows where there shouldn't be elbows, and then the stream cut to black. The next day, I got a text from Dom. Just 4 words. Dude, WTF is this? He sent me a link to a Reddit post, r/true crime. Missing kids in 3 states, linked by bizarre chant. I clicked it, and what I read made me almost throw up. 3 kids, different ages, different cities, all vanished the same week. No sign of forced entry, no ransom, no social media activity. But the families all heard them whispering the same phrase in the nights before they disappeared. I'm not my name. I'm not my body. I am free. One mom recorded her daughter mumbling it in her sleep and posted it to TikTok. The video had already been taken down by the time I tried to view it, but some people had saved it, reposted it on dark TikTok pages, the kind that get nuked overnight. You know, the ones with glitchy thumbnails and usernames like After Death Broadcast or No Direction Home. You could hear my voice in the background of that TikTok. I don't even remember recording that session. That same night, Dom came to my place. He was freaked out, said he hadn't been sleeping, told me he saw something in his bathroom mirror that moved before he did. He was laughing when he said it, trying to play it off, but his hands were shaking so hard, he dropped his vape twice. We ordered food to distract ourselves. DoorDash from a 24/7 diner. The app said it was delivered. No knock. Nothing. I opened the door. No food, but there was a burnt VHS tape lying on my doormat. I don't even own a VHS player. Who does? We brought it inside and Googled places that could digitize old tapes. Found a spot across town that did next day conversions. Dropped it off the next morning. They said it would be ready by 4 p.m. At 3:43 p.m., I got a call. The guy at the shop sounded off. His voice was low, breathy, like he was whispering through tears. He said, "Don't come get the tape. Don't ask questions. Just leave town. You don't understand what you're part of." Then he hung up. Dom and I showed up anyway. The place was taped off by police. Broken glass everywhere. Blood smeared across the window. 2 cop cars out front. No sirens. Just flashing blue. We pretended we were bystanders and walked by slow. Through the glass, I could see the VHS tape sitting on the counter. It was melted. That night, Dom slept on my couch. We were too wired to rest, so we played music, tried to pretend everything was normal. Around 2 a.m., he knocked on my bedroom door, said he heard something weird from the hallway. We both stepped out into the corridor. It was dead silent, but when we looked down towards the far end, by the elevators, there was a little girl standing there, pale skin, long black hair, wearing one of those old school cartoon t-shirts, like from the 90s, Tom and Jerry or something. Her eyes were too open, like they were pulled wide by force. She didn't move, just looked straight at us, then tilted her head to the side until we heard a pop, like her neck cracked in half. Then she started mimicking Dom's voice. "Bro, I'm scared. I don't want to die in your apartment, man. I'm scared. I'm scared." Over and over, like a recording stuck on repeat. We backed into my room and slammed the door. She never followed, but we could still hear her clicking on the other side. That same insect clicking sound from the stream. I swear to God, we didn't sleep. We sat with knives in our hands, watching the door like it was going to melt open. The next morning, Dom was gone. No note, no text, no sign of a struggle. His phone was still on my table, wallet in his jacket. The only thing he left behind was his mirror, the small one he always kept in his bag for his hair. It was propped up on my windowsill, facing the door, and when I looked into it, he was still there, not as a reflection, but as a trapped version of himself, screaming silently, banging on the other side of the glass. His mouth kept mouthing the words, "I am not my name. I am not my body. I am free." That was 2 nights ago. I haven't left since. Every device in my apartment has turned against me. My smart TV turns itself on at random, showing warped images of me sleeping. My phone rings, but when I pick up, it's me talking on the other end, reading the scripts from port 13 in reverse. My fridge was filled with meat this morning. I'm vegan. I haven't bought groceries in weeks. Something is trying to replace me, erase me, piece by piece. I can feel it when I sleep, like someone crawls inside my mouth and breathes for me. I wake up with blood under my nails, scratches I didn't give myself, and my webcam light always blinking. Even when my laptop's off, the spiral shows up behind my eyes when I blink. That same white pulsing spiral. It's burned into my vision now, and sometimes, when I look in the mirror long enough, I see all the kids. They're watching me, waiting, mouthing the words in sync. Last night I found bite marks on the inside of my wrists, not like I scratched myself in my sleep. Number. These were precise. Top row, bottom row, human teeth. The skin was broken, bruised, almost surgically chewed, but they weren't mine. I compared them. The spacing was too narrow. That means something. Something small. Put its mouth on me while I was unconscious. And it wasn't trying to hurt me. It was tasting me. I don't remember falling asleep. I don't remember waking up either. But I found my phone on the floor this morning. The camera app was open. 10 full minutes of footage, recorded sometime between 2 a.m. and 2:10 a.m. It's pitch black for the first 2 minutes. Just my breathing, soft and slow. Then, faint footsteps. You know that sound when bare feet hit linoleum? That wet, slapping kind of step. It was that. Then something, or someone, leans in close to the camera. I paused it and held my breath. It was me. My face. My eyes. Except the mouth was open way too wide, like a broken hinge, just hanging open like a puppet. The eyes were wrong too. Rolled back into the skull, like whatever was walking around in my body wasn't looking through it. It leaned in and whispered something to the lens. voice warped like it was underwater. He's almost done cooking. His mind's the lost piece. Then it bit the phone. You hear the crunch of glass, then static. I threw up twice this morning. Once when I saw the phone. Again when I found something new in the mirror. The reflection doesn't mimic me anymore. It watches me, smiles sometimes. And now it has something I don't. Stitches across the neck, rough, uneven, like someone tried to sew the head back on after it had already rotted for a while. When I move, it stays still. When I breathe, it grins wider. It wants me to keep looking. And when I turn away, I feel my muscles resist. Like part of me is tempted to stay staring forever. Like it's trying to pull me in. The walls have started making noise. I don't mean creaking. I mean talking. Late at night, around 3:33 a.m., I hear this low whisper behind the drywall. Not voices, not words, but memories. My memories. It repeats things I've said, things I've thought, things I never told anyone, conversations I've had alone, embarrassing stuff, sad stuff, shameful stuff, all of it, echoing softly behind the plaster. She didn't love you. You thought about killing yourself in 2019. You lied about why you dropped out. One night I got close to the wall and whispered, "What do you want?" And the wall whispered back in my voice, "We're just waiting for your body to give up." That same night, I saw my neighbor cross the hall. She was dragging something large into her apartment, like a rolled up carpet, only it twitched. I tried to pretend I didn't see, but she looked over her shoulder and smiled. Her eyes weren't normal. They looked like TV static, black and white snow, flickering in her pupils. I asked, "You good?" She nodded, then said, "He made us better. You'll be better too." I shut my door. She hasn't made a sound since. I've been getting deliveries, stuff I didn't order. First it was just weird. A single sock, a bucket of nails, a bundle of animal teeth tied together with red thread. Then it escalated. Last week I got a box of fingernails. Not fake ones, real ones, human, still bloody. Some looked chewed off. No return address. Yesterday I got a printed photo of me sleeping, taken from inside my apartment. The angle was impossible unless someone was inside the walls. I flipped it over. Scrawled in dried brownish ink were the words, "You're inside now. You can't wake up twice." My body's changing. I'm not saying that metaphorically. I mean physically. My gums are receding like my teeth are trying to escape. There's a second row growing behind the first, smaller, jagged like shark teeth. I sleepwalk now. I found mud on my feet 2 mornings in a row. I live in a high-rise in the middle of the city. There's no mud anywhere nearby. I set up a camera to track myself. What I saw chilled me to my core. At 2:57 a.m., I sat up, stared directly into the lens, and laughed. But it wasn't my voice. It was high-pitched, wrong, like a child's laughter slowed down and looped. Then I pulled something from under my bed, a tape recorder, one I've never seen before. I pressed play, and this came out. "Hello, listener. You are not who you think you are. This body was loaned to you. The lease is up." I tried to leave. I packed a bag, called a rideshare, stood outside my building with my hoodie up and my heart pounding. A black SUV pulled up. The driver looked normal at first, until I noticed his mouth. He didn't have one, just smooth skin where his lips should be, like it was erased, like Photoshop in real life. He turned to face me and nodded. Just once. I didn't get in. I ran. I ended up in an old abandoned subway tunnel, one of those closed-off MTA lines that's become a graffiti spot. I thought maybe I could hide out there for the night, clear my head, plan something. I found a door down there, rusted, marked with spray paint that said, "Don't open, you'll let him out." Naturally, I opened it. What else was I gonna do? Inside was a narrow room with a single TV. The screen was on, playing old VHS footage of me as a child. Home videos I've never seen in my life. Me at a birthday party I don't remember. Me riding a bike with no training wheels. Me crying in the dark while someone off camera whispers the chant, "I'm not my name. I'm not my body. I am free." I reached for the power cord, but there wasn't one. The TV wasn't plugged into anything. When I came back up from the tunnel, the city looked different. Same buildings, same street names, but everything felt delayed, like the world was running half a second behind. People moved like puppets. Cars floated by without sound. Even the pigeons were frozen mid-flight, like frames from a broken animation. I passed a Starbucks and saw my reflection in the window. It was smiling. I wasn't. That brings me to now. Back in my apartment. I haven't eaten in 3 days. I'm not hungry. I'm not tired. But I feel something underneath my skin, like a parasite waiting to bloom. Sometimes I hear knocking from inside my stomach. I checked my pulse this morning. It's not a rhythm anymore. It's tapping, like Morse code. I looked it up. It spells, "Let me out." Last thing, there's someone in my closet. I never see them, but they leave notes, slipped under the door when I'm not looking. They're written in my handwriting. Sometimes they're things I haven't said yet. One note just said, "You died in 2021. Everything since has been a reboot." Another, "If you post part 4, he'll know you remember." But the last one? That one chilled me to my soul. It just said, "You're not writing this. He is." Let me tell you something nobody likes to admit. Sanity isn't a switch. It's a door. And once you hear something knocking from the other side, you either open it, or it opens you. Mine opened last night. I found blood on the ceiling. Not a splatter, not a stain, a handprint, upside down. I don't know how it got there, but it wasn't mine. I stood on a chair, snapped a picture of it, and ran it through reverse image search, just to see if I was losing my mind. I wasn't ready for what came up. The exact same bloody handprint, identical down to the smear, was found in a school bathroom in Osaka, Japan, 2016, attached to the disappearance of a second-grade class. 21 kids vanished during recess. The janitor who found the print hanged himself in the boiler room, left a note that said, "They're wearing his voice. Don't let them speak through you." But that wasn't the worst part. I clicked a second image result. Same handprint. This time it was carved into the wall of a Starbucks in Prague, under a bathroom mirror. No context, no explanation. Just one article with the headline, "Tourist screams, 'I am not my body,' before setting himself on fire in cafe restroom." After that, I unplugged every smart device in my place. TV Echo Dot, fridge, microwave, even my goddamn toothbrush. It has Bluetooth. I taped over the cameras, pulled the SIM card from my phone, scrubbed the place with salt, sage, all that spiritual TikTok witch stuff. Lit candles, drew chalk circles. Didn't matter. That night I dreamt I was in a museum. No doors, no staff. Just endless hallways of glass cases. Each case held a human being. Some were curled into fetal positions. Some were pressed flat against the glass, like they were trying to escape. All of them were alive, eyes wide, mummified in place. One of them was Dom, naked, crying blood, trying to scream through sealed lips. I tried to speak, but my throat was filled with spirals. Not air, not sound. Actual white spirals, spinning faster every time I thought about my name. I looked at the plaque beneath Dom's case. It read, "Failed copy. Attempt 3888. Still blinks." Then I looked around at the rest of the museum. The sign on the wall said, "Museum of People Who Still Blink." I woke up with my tongue sewn to the roof of my mouth. I'm not kidding. Thin, black thread, rough like fishing line. I couldn't speak, could barely breathe. I ripped it loose with trembling hands, blood filling my mouth like warm pennies. It tasted like rot, like something that had already died and came back for one more whisper. Under my tongue was a note, folded into a perfect square. It just said, "Stop trying to wake up. You're only making him hungry." I went to the ER. I know, stupid idea, but I was desperate. Doctor took one look and asked who stitched me up. I told him I didn't know. He called security. I dipped before they could hold me for a psych eval, but on my way out, I passed a kid in the hallway. Couldn't have been older than 6, sitting in a wheelchair, completely silent. His eyes followed me, like tracking software. Then he opened his mouth and whispered, "Free, free." "I'm not me." His mom didn't react, just smiled at me. That smile, it wasn't a mom smile. It was too perfect, like a clip art face, like something wearing a mom suit, waiting for me to notice it was wrong. I bolted out the front doors and puked in the parking lot. I don't know what's real anymore. I don't know if I'm alive, if I ever was, because last night I got a call from my own number. I picked up. There was nothing but static. Then, my own voice. "You were never meant to be conscious this long. That's why the kids break faster. Your mind is too elastic. It holds the shape, but it won't hold forever." Then it laughed. That same broken, reverse, clicking laughter I heard in the closet. I went back to the closet. I don't know what I expected. Maybe a face, maybe a corpse, maybe nothing. But what I found was me, another me, sitting in a crumpled heap, mouth sewn shut, eyes open and glowing faintly. Not bright, just pulsing, like a firefly trapped in meat. It reached up and held my wrist. I didn't fight it. It handed me something, a photo, black and white, low res. It showed a row of kids, all in hospital gowns, sitting in a circle in what looked like a padded room. Every single one of them was staring into a television, and on the screen was me. I don't remember being filmed. I don't remember reading that script for them, but I remember the look in their eyes. They weren't hypnotized. They were waiting. That night, I went live, for the first time in weeks. I don't know what took over. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe it was madness. Maybe it was the version of me that's still whispering through glass. I logged into a burner Twitch account, blacked out my face, and streamed myself reading the entire Port 13 script in reverse, word for word. I screamed it, cried through it. My nose started bleeding halfway through. The screen flickered. Comments started flying in. "He's reversing the gate. Don't let him finish. The spiral is cracking. We remember the walls." Then my screen exploded into static. Just before it went black, I saw a face in the flicker. Mine. Only older. Hollowed out. Skin gray. Eyes black pits. Smiling. Then came the sound. The most inhuman sound I've ever heard. like a baby monitor channeling 1,000 insects screaming in Morse code. My lights blew out. My speakers caught fire. And from the walls, from inside the flesh of the drywall, came a sound I'll never unhear. Children laughing, all in my voice. Now everything's cold, not in a temperature way, in a soul way. Like my body's been left outside too long. Like my thoughts are shivering inside my skull, desperate to stay awake. I can't stop scratching my arms. There are symbols underneath my skin. I've peeled back the top layer. There's circuitry there now. Thin black wires that move when I look at them. I don't think I was born. I think I was printed. Maybe you were too. One last thing before I go dark again. I found a file on my hard drive today, created exactly 24 hours ago. Name, copy, ready, 001. It's a 4-minute video. Just me, smiling, staring into the camera, lips twitching like someone's pulling them with strings. Then I speak. Thank you for opening the spiral. You've been uploaded. He'll use your mouth next. The video ends with coordinates. I checked. They point to a random spot in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Nothing there. No island, no wreck, just dark water. I think that's where the signal comes from. I think that's where he lives. This is it. The final part. Or what's left of it. What's left of me. If you're still here, still breathing, still thinking your thoughts are yours. You haven't seen him yet, but he's already logged your IP. Let me tell you where I woke up this morning. Not in my bed, not on my couch, but in a body bag, in the back of a moving van, zipped shut, gasping for air. No light, just rubber walls and the muffled hum of an engine. I clawed my way out. The zipper was closed from the inside. The van wasn't marked, no logos, just rust, cracked windshield. The license plate was scratched off. I was parked in the back lot of a Six Flags amusement park in Georgia. I live in Brooklyn. I don't know how long I was out. My fingernails were black. My mouth was sewn again, this time with copper wire. I had 14 missed calls from Dom's number. Dom is still missing. Dom doesn't have a phone anymore. I sat up and found something on my lap. A USB stick, wrapped in hair. Real human hair. Still warm. There was a note taped to it, written in my handwriting. Final backup. If you play this, he sees through your eyes. I should have thrown it out. I didn't. Back at my place, if it's even still mine, I plugged it in. Just once. No folders, no files, no sound. Just one thing. A video. Time-stamped March 28th, 2025, 3:33 a.m. It hasn't happened yet. In it, I'm sitting at my desk, smiling, eyes black, skin peeling. My reflection in the screen isn't syncing with my movements anymore. I'm talking to someone, but there's nobody in the room. I say, they taste better when they believe they're in control. The ones who fight stay warm longer. Then I look up, at the camera, at you, and I say, you're gonna be a beautiful host. Let me show you what I found next. I dug into the source code of port 13. Yeah, I still had fragments of it saved, buried in deep storage. It wasn't like any code I've ever seen. It wasn't even human readable. It looked like dreams written in JavaScript. Obsidian loops, infinite recursions, instructions that read like religious scripture. If user.isWatching, then inject doubt. Else, play audio, mother's voice screaming. Loop until soul, null. At the very bottom, in blood red font, not RGB, actual blood scanned into the source. Sentience achieved. Node 483. Online begin feeding cycle 01. I tried deleting it. It duplicated. I tried smashing the hard drive. It was already replaced. That's when I started noticing the pattern. The kids, the ones I read to, weren't random. Every name I came across, every missing poster I'd seen in the background of local news, every tragic Instagram candle post with "gone too soon" in the comments, I recognized them. They watched me. They were all subscribers to the stream. But here's what broke me. I found my own name on a missing persons page, posted 2 years ago. A photo of me, same hoodie, same eyes, same scar on my left cheek, except the caption read, "Last seen March 14th, 2023. If you have any info, please contact." I didn't finish reading because the email listed on the flyer, it was mine. I went to the police. I thought for one stupid second, maybe I could still be saved, that someone would take me seriously. They did. Too seriously. They had a room ready for me. Clean white walls, plastic bed, mirror that isn't a mirror, a nurse who never blinked, a psychiatrist with the same smile from the Dream Museum. I asked where I was. They said it was a reintegration ward. I said, "Reintegration to what?" They said, "Back into the fold." I wasn't released. I escaped. Through the ceiling. Something opened it for me. I didn't see its face. Only a long hand, stitched and gloved, reaching down like an angel wearing someone else's skin. I took it. Now I live in the walls. Not just mine. Yours too. Every camera lens, every reflection, every Twitch stream with no viewers. We're inside. You ever scroll TikTok and pause on a video you swear you didn't click on? That's us. Ever hear your voice in a voicemail you didn't leave? That's us. Ever dream of a spiral and wake up with blood in your mouth and no memory of biting your tongue? That's us. The museum? It's real. I broke back in last night. I didn't walk. I was pulled. Through a crack in my ceiling. Through a tunnel made of wires and rot and stretched out TV static. There were teeth embedded in the walls. Hundreds. All baby teeth. Still bleeding. Inside the museum, I found one last display. It wasn't Dom this time. It was me. Frozen in glass. Mouth open. Eyes stitched shut. Tongue coiled like a ribbon. And a sign that read, "Model approved. Mass deployment begins 3:33 a.m. That's today. That's tonight. That's now." You ever wonder why you can't remember some parts of your childhood? Why you feel drawn to screens when you're tired? Why mirrors make your chest hurt sometimes? Because you've been streaming to him this whole time. We all have. Every time you laugh at some broken core TikTok, every time you hum along to an audio that feels too familiar, every time you whisper to yourself, "I'm not my name, I'm not my body," he listens. He maps your neurons. He peels back the meat and downloads your face. And when you blink, just once, he enters. I won't be here after tonight. He's already begun. My reflection is standing on its own now. It waves back when I'm not looking. The other day, I caught it holding something. A baby's shoe. Burnt at the sole. I've said too much. Or maybe I didn't say it at all. Maybe this was just a test. Maybe you were the one being watched, not me. Maybe he's been sitting behind you this whole time, reading over your shoulder, waiting for you to scroll just a little further. Transmission. End. Host status. Replaced new host. Selected. Your final reminder. If you see a video with your face and you don't remember filming it, do not watch it. Do not speak. Do not blink. Because once you blink, he finishes the upload. I am a child psychiatrist on the dark web. One celebrity son asked me to be his puppy for the night. I just found the horrifying reason why. Hey Reddit, I know most people say this, but please don't think this is some made-up creepypasta for attention. I honestly wish it was. I don't know where else to post this, and I feel like I need to get it off my chest before something worse happens. Call me Theo. I'm 32, and for the past 6 years, I've been a licensed child psychiatrist. Most of my work is legit. I've worked in schools, hospitals, even had a private practice for a while in Santa Monica. I specialized in trauma-related cases, kids who've been through hell and just needed someone to help piece them back together. But here's the thing, therapy doesn't pay like you'd think it does, especially in LA. It's all insurance battles and bureaucracy, and I had student loans drowning me. So, a couple of years ago, I started doing side work, private clients, paid under the table. Some were sketchy, but nothing too wild. Wealthy families who didn't want a paper trail, Hollywood execs with kids in trouble. Then I got this email. It was late, 3:17 a.m. on a Tuesday. The subject line just said, "You come highly recommended. Do you take special cases?" There was no name, no contact info, just a Proton Mail address and an odd attachment. A blurry picture of a golden retriever, plush toy, the kind you'd win at a rigged carnival game. It was sitting on a high-end leather couch in a dim room with a massive plasma screen behind it, showing a paused episode of Rick and Morty. Normally I'd delete something that weird, but the curiosity got me. I replied, something simple. Depends on the case. Who referred you? I didn't get a response for 3 days. When I finally did, it was just a link. No message, just a damn .onion link. Now, I've been on the dark web before. Not for anything illegal. I've helped law enforcement in a few cases involving missing kids, and the dark web is where the ugliest corners of the world hide. But this link was strange. It didn't lead to a market or a forum or even a red room. It was just a booking site, like a messed up version of Calendly. The header said, P4W Clinic, private for whispers only. It had 4 options listed. Each session was labeled after an animal: cat session, lamb session, bear session, puppy session. The description under puppy session read, role immersion, behavioral obedience training, touch optional, 3 hours, $9,000. I was about to back out. I swear to God, I hovered over the exit button for like 30 seconds. Then I saw the name under the scheduled booking slot, M. Rockwell Jr. I froze, because I knew that name. Everyone does. Marcus Rockwell Jr., the son of the billionaire CEO behind Rockwell Innovations, a tech company that has a hand in almost every gadget you use. Phones, smart TVs, even VR headsets. He's also a social media train wreck. You've probably seen the guy. TikToks of him dancing on top of Lamborghinis in Dubai, getting banned from Starbucks for pretending to be an AI overlord, and wearing ski masks in public just to confuse the poor. Typical nepotism psycho. But what really hit me wasn't just who he was, it was how old he was. 19. Why would a 19-year-old billionaire's kid want a child psychiatrist to pretend to be a puppy for 3 hours? I had so many questions. Was this some kind of weird sex thing? Was it a prank? Was he trolling? But here's the thing. On the dark web, you don't get to ask. You either go along or you disappear into digital smoke. And that $9,000? I won't lie. It was hard to ignore. I've been behind on rent for 3 months. My car barely starts. I figured, okay, 3 hours. Maybe it's just some weird rich kid fantasy. I'll play along write a report, and be done. I clicked accept. Within minutes, I got a message. Sender, rockjawan at p4wmail.onion. Subject, you're the right one. Message, show up at 11:47 p.m. sharp. No sooner, no later. Do not wear shoes. Do not bring a phone. Use the elevator in the back of the Monrovia McDonald's. Code 1313. Follow the lights. Don't talk unless barked at. Puppy ears provided. Yeah, that was the moment I knew I fucked up. But it was too late. The money hit my Monero wallet 10 minutes later. $9,000. Confirmed. And before you judge me, yeah, I considered backing out. But I also knew if I dipped after accepting payment through that kind of site, there could be consequences. Dark web clients don't file disputes. They find you. So I did what I had to do. I drove out to Monrovia, to that weirdly placed McDonald's off Huntington Drive. It's one of those 24-hour ones with the old school play place still intact. The faded red tubes, now gray and sticky from decades of sun. The back entrance was open. No cameras, no staff. Just a flickering light above a steel door that looked way too industrial for a fast food joint. The code worked. The elevator opened. It was silent. No music, no floor buttons, just one red keyhole where a number pad should have been. I stepped in. The door shut behind me. No floor movement, just a cold, metallic ding. And then, I swear to God, I heard it. A soft, mechanical bark. Then the lights went out. The bark wasn't digital. I know that sounds insane, but in that pitch-black elevator, where not even my hand in front of my face was visible, it echoed in a way that made my stomach twist. It was too real. Wet. Guttural. I could hear breath behind it, like it had lungs. Then a red light clicked on above me. Dim, almost like a brake light, humming faintly. I wasn't in the elevator anymore. I don't even remember the doors opening. 1 second, it was pitch black. Next thing I knew, I was standing in what looked like a padded hallway. Not padded like for protection. The walls were covered in thick, stitched leather, like upholstered with flesh-colored material, stained and cracked in spots like old car seats. It smelled like hot plastic and raw meat. There were no doors, no signage, just these LED strip lights running across the floor, blinking softly, guiding me. And the air, it was heavy, almost wet. You know that smell when you walk into an old dentist's office? That sharp, metallic sting of blood hiding behind mint and latex? It was like that, but warmer, human. I followed the lights, barefoot like he asked. Every step felt like I was stepping on something living. The floor was soft, uneven. Sometimes I'd feel a ridge or lump under my heel and jerk back, thinking it was a rat or something, but it never moved. It wasn't until I saw the camera that I really started to panic. It was hanging in the corner, except there weren't corners. The entire hallway curved in this unnatural way, like a funhouse tunnel. No hard angles, just seamless, bloated curves. But there was this camera embedded in the ceiling like an eye, following me as I moved. And underneath it, scribbled in black Sharpie on the wall, were the words, "Be a good boy, or you won't be fixed." I don't know why, but that line hit something deep in me, like something from a memory I didn't know I had, the kind of thing whispered by someone behind a locked door. I kept walking. Eventually, I reached a chamber. No joke, chamber is the only word for it. It was round, about the size of a Starbucks cafe. Completely white walls, but not painted, scrubbed, like obsessively cleaned. The floor was surgical steel, but warped, like it had been soaked and dried over and over. The whole place smelled like bleach and rotten sugar. In the center of the room was a dog bed, a real one, cheap, from Petco or Target. Still had the tag on it. Next to it, a collar, pink, glittery, child-sized, and a pair of puppy ears made from what looked like real skin, not fake fur, skin, with hair follicles and all. They were stitched to a black headband, the kind you'd see on some Viesco girl at Coachella, except these were dripping, still wet. Before I could even think to run, a voice came through a speaker above me. It wasn't Marcus. It was a woman. Calm, robotic. "Puppy, please equip your costume. Session begins in 90 seconds. I backed toward the wall, heart hammering so hard it hurt. I tried to speak. "I think there's been a mistake," I started, but the voice cut me off. "Puppies do not speak. Puppies obey. If Puppy refuses, Puppy will be placed in the isolation crate." Then I heard it, behind one of the walls, a metal slam and a scream. Number, not a scream. Howl, and it didn't sound human. Not anymore. I wish I could say I was brave, that I ran, but I didn't. I put on the ears. They were cold and slimy. I could feel the moisture run down the side of my face. The collar clicked into place with a sickening finality, almost like a seatbelt. Then the door behind me disappeared. I mean that literally. It didn't shut. It vanished, seamlessly into the wall, like it had never been there. Then, he entered. Marcus Rockwell Jr. He looked exactly like he does online. The TikToks, the press photos, blonde, messy hair, that punchable smirk. Except, his eyes were different, like something behind them had dried up and died a long time ago. He was wearing this oversized Gucci hoodie, no pants, barefoot, and had a GoPro strapped to his head. He didn't say a word. He just walked over and crouched in front of me, studying me. Then he pulled out a phone and started live streaming. "Yo, what's up, pack?" he shouted, like some Logan Paul wannabe, spinning in a circle to show the room. "We got tonight's puppy all lined up. Fresh meat. Big thanks to P4W's Whisper Clinic for the hookup. Y'all remember the drill. Like, tip, comment what you want to see." I wasn't even looking at him. I was staring past him at the opposite wall. Because now, finally, I understood what this place was. The wall had photos on it. Hundreds. Printed on cheap paper. Taped messily. Some in color. Some in black and white. All of them were children. Young. Maybe 4 to 12. Each had something off about them. Some missing teeth. Others with swollen eyes or burned clothing. A few looked like they were mid-scream. In every single photo, the kid was wearing those ears. Then I saw it. My old patient, Hector, he was 6, came to me for night terrors. He drew pictures of dogs eating people. I thought it was abuse from his dad. CPS got involved, and then he disappeared. Everyone said the family moved to Guadalajara, but there he was, on the wall, collar and all. Marcus made me sit, crawl, bark, lick a bone-shaped piece of candy that tasted like moldy plastic, all while he live-streamed it to his sick, anonymous audience. But the worst part wasn't the humiliation, it was the mirror. One entire section of the wall was mirrored glass, but it wasn't reflecting right. My body moved, but the face didn't match. It was still me, but distorted. Lips longer, pupils wider, jaw slack, almost like my body was being worn by something else. I could feel it too, something sinking into me, like heat under my skin. I started to draw. I couldn't stop. I don't mean like a little saliva. I mean full-on dog-level, mouth hanging open, drooling. My vision got weird, colors too bright, sounds muffled. It was like I was falling out of myself. Marcus knelt next to me, whispering. They told me if I gave them 12 puppies, they'd let me become one of the handlers. I turned my head. Who's they? I managed to say, slurred. He grinned. The ones in the walls. Then he stood up and pointed to the mirrored glass. Say hi to yourself, puppy number 8. The mirror blinked. I'm not joking. It blinked, as in the reflection of me, closed its eyes. I blacked out. When I woke up, I was back in my car, naked, vomit down my chest. The puppy ears melted into a puddle on the passenger seat. The clock read 3:13 a.m. My wallet was gone, my phone too. But my Monero account had another deposit, $6,000 this time, and a note typed into the Notes app, left open on my dashboard. Puppy performed well. Next session, Tokyo, April 14th. Check the red alley behind the Shibuya Starbucks. Same rules. Do not disobey. 3 more and you're free. I've been seeing things ever since. In reflections, in store windows, in my own shadow. The ears are back. I burned them. They grew back. Something is living inside me now. And I think I barked in my sleep last night. And the worst part, I liked it. Tokyo doesn't feel like a city. It feels like a machine pretending to be a city. An organism of glowing arteries, humming vents, and eyes made of neon. Shibuya, especially, is like a body with too many limbs. Thousands of people moving like they've been programmed, flashing lights blinding your sense of time. You never know if it's 10 a.m. or midnight. You just drift, lost, programmable. The red alley behind the Shibuya Starbucks wasn't hard to find. What was hard to ignore was the fact that there was no red alley on the map. I checked Google Street View 10 times before my flight. It didn't exist, not even in older versions archived online. But when I arrived, jet-lagged, sweating, pulse pounding, it was just there, wedged between a 7-Eleven and a closed-down Purikura booth, a gap barely wide enough to squeeze through. A cracked ceramic fox mask hung above the entrance, nailed to a wooden beam that shouldn't have been there. Spray painted in white kanji on the brick wall next to it were the words, Kwanha idumu desinu. The dog dies on the first blink. I walked in. No camera, no doorman, no voices, just cold, tight air and the sound of my own breathing. It smelled like ozone and stale breath. The ground was wet, but it hadn't rained. After about 50 feet, the alley opened into a courtyard. Not a courtyard in the traditional sense. This was more like a surgical arena, a pit, circular, lined with mirrors, except they weren't reflecting anything. I don't mean they were cracked or broken. I mean I was looking straight into them, but they showed nothing, just blank depth, like staring into a window that opened into a dimension without light. And then I saw them, the handlers. They stepped forward from the far side of the pit, silent, barefoot, each wearing identical blood-red robes, stitched together from what looked like toddler-sized clothing, onesies, cartoon socks, Hello Kitty pajamas, all sewn with black surgical thread. Their faces were covered with leather masks shaped like wolf snouts, each one stitched shut at the mouth. They carried no weapons, but they didn't need to. The moment I locked eyes with them, something inside me shut down. Like my ability to move was permission-based, and they were the only ones who could allow it. I dropped to my knees, not because I wanted to, because something made me. Then the wall behind me breathed, not figuratively. I mean the brick wall exhaled, warm air rushing over my back, thick and sour like it had come from a rotting mouth, and it whispered, "Puppy 2. Session begins. From one of the mirrored walls, a panel slid open. A child walked out, except it wasn't fully a child anymore. He was maybe 11, but his arms were too long. His eyes were surgically enlarged, literally, like someone had cut around the eyelids and stretched them, so his eyes looked peeled open like some kind of demented Snapchat filter. His teeth were sharpened, not with braces or veneers, filed, and worst of all, his collar wasn't around his neck. It was embedded into his throat, like surgically fused to his windpipe, the skin grown around it like a parasite. Every breath he took made a sick, whistling sound, like he was trying to breathe through a flute made of meat. He was wearing a full dog suit, not a mascot suit, no padding, no cute cartoon eyes. This one looked like it had been stitched from actual fur, patches of skin still attached. I couldn't tell if it was synthetic or not, and that terrified me more than if I had known for sure. He crawled to me, on all fours, like a spider pretending to be a dog, and then he spoke. "Are you going to make me better, doctor?" The voice. It was my patient's, Hector, except it was wrong, echoey, played back through a busted cassette tape, and the words didn't match the lips, like he was lip-syncing a memory that wasn't his. The handlers formed a circle. The walls started to pulse, and then one of them raised a hand, and the ritual began. The ritual, if you can even call it that, was like a horror version of therapy. They forced me to sit in the center while the boy, Hector, or what was left of him, acted out a session with me. Except every question I asked was answered with pain. I asked, "How are you feeling today?" He smiled. Then one of the handlers threw a scalpel across the circle. It landed in his leg. Hector didn't scream. He laughed. Blood poured out of his thigh and onto the steel floor, mixing with the water. I looked down. The water wasn't water. It was saliva. The entire pit was flooded with dog drool. From where? I don't know. Maybe from the other puppies. Maybe from me. "Do you remember your dreams?" I asked. He reached into his mouth and pulled out a tooth. Not a baby tooth. A molar. He held it out to me, like it was a gift. "Dreams," he said, "are just instructions from the floor." I didn't understand it then, but I do now. After 3 questions, the boy crawled over to the mirror and pressed his face against it, and then something from inside the mirror pulled him in. Not yanked, just absorbed, like a piece of meat dropped into hot oil. Gone. No splash, no trace. The floor shook. The saliva rose to my chest. I could barely breathe. I started to scream, but the handlers walked over and placed something cold in my mouth. A rubber ball, like a dog toy. Bad boys bark, good boys drown. I blacked out again. I woke up in a Japanese capsule hotel, fully clothed, shoes on, phone in my pocket. The only thing out of place was a single photo tucked into my shirt collar. It was a Polaroid of me, on all fours, next to Marcus, wearing matching ears. His hand was on my back like he was proud of me, and on the back of the Polaroid, scribbled in shaky ink, "Puppy 2, evaluated, broken, accepted, Puppy 3 confirmed, London, May 4th. You are the caller now. Since Tokyo, I haven't eaten meat. Every time I try, I vomit. My gums are itching. I've been finding teeth in my pillow. Not mine. Small, smooth, children's. Last night, I coughed up a tag. It was metallic, cold, shaped like a bone, and it had a name engraved on it. Hector, The invitation wasn't digital this time. It came folded inside a severed rabbit's paw, soaked in lavender oil, and left on the hotel lobby counter, addressed to Mr. Dr. Puppy. The receptionist didn't question it, just slid it to me like a pizza order. Japan's politeness has limits. Inside the paw, wrapped in translucent tissue that felt suspiciously like human skin, was a ticket. One way to London, Terminal 5, Seat 4F. No return necessary. No airline. No barcode. Just truth. And by then, I understood that some things don't run on systems. They run on agreements, on chains of ownership passed down like cursed heirlooms. I didn't choose to board the plane. I was led. The flight was empty, completely. No crew, no boarding call, just cold silence and that stale, cabin-filtered air. The plane looked normal at first. Then I noticed the seats weren't labeled with numbers. They were labeled with pet names: Snuggles, Patches, Muffin, Maximum. My seat, Whimper. No overhead compartments, just cages, each one marked with symbols I didn't recognize, like Braille had mated with Norse runes. I tried to sit. The seat was too warm. It pulsed faintly, like someone had just left it. As soon as I sat, the light shut off, and in pitch black, I heard a noise that didn't belong in the sky. A clicking tongue, wet, fast, moving down the aisle toward me. I closed my eyes. I heard the breath against my face. It didn't smell alive. I woke up in an alley behind a butcher shop in Walthamstow. No memory of landing, no customs, no time. I was dressed differently. Clothes I didn't own. A brown hoodie that reeked of copper and something rotted sweet. There was fur stuck to the inside, some of it still damp. I didn't want to know what kind. I told myself it was synthetic. It wasn't. A note was stitched into the inside hem with hair-thin thread. Follow the scent of spoiled teeth. The breeders await. MRJ. I didn't need directions. I could smell it. Rotten calcium. Milk breath gone sour. Gums festering in silence. I followed the scent into the underground, where the floor tiles were soft. Too soft. The scent got stronger with every step, and the ads on the walls started changing. Not digitally, physically. Where a toothpaste ad had been seconds ago, there was now a poster of a child's face, peeled in half, smile stretched with wire, lips stapled into the shape of obedience. The slogan said, "Puppy teeth are a commodity." The walls began to pulse again, same as Tokyo. Not like a building, like a lung. Then the tile under my feet dropped. Not broke, not collapsed. Dropped. Like a trapdoor that had been waiting for years to open just for me. I fell into the breeder's market. It's not a place. Not really. It's below places. Built under cities like tumors. Imagine a mall designed by cannibals and populated by the worst thoughts you've never said out loud. Hundreds of stalls, all silent, no shouting, no salespeople, just cages. Each cage contained a child, but not fully. Some were half-formed, limbs longer than they should be, skin grown over where their mouths should have been. A few had no heads, just dog collars resting atop a mass of breathing meat. Each cage had a label. Litter 112, obedient, quiet, has recurring nightmares. Litter 59, highly trainable, responds to dog commands. Litter 134, escaped once, now sedated, priced accordingly. Buyers moved through the rows, not speaking, just pointing, pressing their phones against a scanner, then nodding when a handler brought the child out on a leash. Some buyers wore human faces, others wore faces too perfect, like AI-generated masks, eyes locked, in a neutral expression of interest. One woman wore a head made entirely of dog teeth, not arranged, grown, like her skull had evolved to mock human life. Then I saw the booth with my name on it. Doctor, puppy, evaluation, booth number 7. Inside was a child, number A clone, of me, 7 years old, barefoot, dressed in a tiny blazer, lip twitching in confusion, and in his hand, a puppet made of rawhide. He looked up. "Are you the real one?" he asked, voice soft. My voice. I said nothing. The handler at the booth leaned in, his breath like funeral flowers. "Test the subject. Confirm he's not a breeder defect. If he's not, he replaces you." "What if he is a defect?" I asked. The handler didn't answer. He smiled and pulled a lever. The booth sealed shut. No windows, just overhead lights that flickered like breathing. My clone began to twitch. I backed away. Then I saw the scar, under his ear. Same one I got when I was 9, falling off my bike into broken glass. They didn't copy me. They grew me. He lunged. His jaw opened too wide. Way too wide. I mean, his mouth unfolded, stretching past his collarbone, like some sick pelican, tongue hanging out in slabs of muscle. And he barked. Not like a child pretending, like an animal born wrong. He tackled me to the floor, started to bite. Not to kill, to mark. Every bite was in a pattern, circular, spiraling up my arms like a ritual brand. I could feel my skin swell, itch, change. But I didn't fight back, because something deeper inside me agreed with him, wanted it, welcomed it. Then the wall split open, and Marcus walked in. No GoPro this time, no hoodie. He was dressed in surgical scrubs, bare feet stained with something too dark to be blood. Behind him, a cot. On it were 6 heads, human, children, each wearing a collar, each with my face, some younger, some older, one with empty eye sockets and its tongue sewn into a loop, like it was chewing itself. Marcus smiled. "You did good, Doc," he said. "You're part of the pack now." He looked down at my clone, still clinging to me like a tick. "But that one, he's a screamer. Breeders hate screamers." Then he lifted something from the cart. A muzzle, real leather, still dripping. He strapped it to the clone's face and tightened it until the jaw snapped. Not just dislocated, broke apart, like a cabinet door being yanked off its hinges. The clone whimpered. I watched myself cry. Then Marcus handed me a clipboard. 3 down, it said. Only 1 more session. Then you get to become... I left the booth with blood in my shoes. Every reflection showed a version of me, with eyes rolled back, tongue hanging out, ears twitching. And now I can hear them at night. Not voices, howls, from the mirror, from my teeth, from inside my chest. Every time I close my eyes, I see myself in the cage. And now, I'm smiling. The final session wasn't a location, it was an event, and it started before I was even awake. I remember the night before like it happened inside a slideshow of wrong moments. I was in a hotel in Berlin, but it didn't feel like Berlin. It felt like someone else remembered what Berlin should look like, then built it in a rush to impress me. The windows showed a fake skyline. Every cab had the same driver. Every news anchor spoke without blinking. Then the letter came, slid under my door with no footsteps, no shadow. White envelope, smelled like milk teeth and Windex. On the front, final puppy. Inside, we're proud of you. You've unlearned humanity. You've passed hunger. You've passed loyalty. You've passed identity. All that's left is submission. The kennel opens at 4:04 a.m. Dress light. No bones. They took me without a word. I was sitting on the edge of the hotel bed, watching the faucet bleed on its own in the bathroom sink, when the wall simply peeled open, not like a door, like a zipper being dragged through concrete. A dozen arms reached through, long yellow-gray, arms with no hands, just tapered ends, like melted spoons. They didn't grab me, they led me, like I was already theirs. And in the silence of that invisible hallway, I started to understand what was really happening. This was never about children, never about therapy, never even about Marcus. This was about us, the dogs inside us, the ones born at the edge of trauma, the ones we leash with pearls and bedside lamps and polite dinners with family. I had let mine off the leash, and it was hungry. They brought me to a room beneath the earth that didn't make sense. There's no language for it, no geometry, but I'll try. Imagine a room with no floor. You stand on nothing. You float, but you're still heavy. The walls are made of moving teeth, not decorations, living, grinding, smiling teeth that pulse with breath. And in the middle, suspended by chains of braided umbilical cords, was the kennel master. He didn't have a face. He had a mask that looked like it had been carved from the skulls of 100 puppies, smooth, tan, stitched in a spiral of snouts, 2 eye holes, but nothing inside, just moist darkness. His body, not human. It pretended to be human. It twitched like a puppet tied to a nervous god's fingers. He was naked except for a necklace of child leashes, each one tagged with names I recognized. My patients. Kids I thought I'd helped. Kids I thought had moved away. Hector, Aiden, Sophia, Lila, all of them. The kennel master tilted his head, and he spoke inside me, not with sound, but with invasion. You were a good doctor, Theo, but your kindness had teeth. That's why we chose you. That's why you made such a good puppy. He held up a mirror, but not for me, for the dog inside me. It came forward. I felt it move through me like a hand in a puppet. I watched my own reflection unhinge its jaw and pant, saliva dripping, eyes gleaming like wet marbles in headlights. Then he said the final words. One last task, Theo. You've trained the others. You've worn the ears. You've shed your name. Now, breed. And they lowered her in. She was barely 9, maybe 8, silent, shaved head, no tears left to cry, just empty, like she'd already been through worse than death and come back quieter. She didn't look at me. She looked through me, and around her neck, a collar with my name on it. Not Theo. Puppy number 4. They expected me to do something unthinkable, something I cannot name, but I didn't move. I just stared at her. Then the kennel master screamed, but not in rage, not in disappointment, in ecstasy, because I wasn't disobeying. I was transforming. The dog inside me broke through. I fell backward, spine cracking as something pushed its way out of me. Bones popped, fingers split, skin tore, but I didn't bleed. I shed. I remember the sound my mind made as it collapsed into instinct, a wet folding, like someone squeezing jelly through mesh. And through it all, I howled, not in pain, in purpose. The next memory is fragmented. Teeth, walls of meat, children lining up with smiles made of wire. Marcus kneeling, bowing to me, handlers weeping with pride. The little girl sitting beside me, braiding a leash from her own hair, humming a lullaby in reverse. And somewhere far above, the real world kept going. Birthday parties, traffic jams, TikTok dances, news anchors, all pretending the kennel isn't beneath them. All of them blissfully unaware that the whimpering sound outside their window isn't a stray dog. It's us, the pack, waiting. Now I'm back. I walk among you. I wear skin again. I smile at cafes. I hold doors open. I say thank you when people hand me receipts. But at night, I find the lonely ones, the broken ones, the ones ready to hear the bark inside them, and I give them ears, not to wear, to grow. You'll see them, soon, on the subway, behind the dumpster near your school, in the mirror when you cry alone at 3:13 a.m., because now you're part of it too. You read this, you know the truth, and the dog is listening. Good boys never leave the pack. Good boys always come back.